Hello friends, it's time for another haul. I think most of these were blind buys because again they're things I can't really test in store. So a lot of them are affordable, but not all of them. Some of them are a bit more pricey, even though obviously I always like to get a deal. I'm going to start with this guy though. So this is Fleurs de Lolita Lempicka. This is their new release, their first new release in quite some time, as far as I can tell. I think that their last new release was, technically 2022 in terms of like a new scent, although it was just the eau de toilette version of Mon Petit. So it was actually 2020, I think, was the last time they released something that you would consider like a whole new pillar fragrance. There's been lots of different bottles with the same perfumes in. So yeah, I mean, it's been 5 years. And before then, they were releasing something, maybe like quite a few every year. They seem to be coming out with perfumes. So, this one though, I mean, the thing that really made me think about this one was, oh well, I mean, look at the bottle. So you can see it on the side here, Fleurs de Lolita Lempicka. I don't like the fact that Fleurs is in a different font to Lolita Lempicka. That kind of thing just drives me slightly mad. But the actual bottle, very cute. I saw this one on my Origins and it was, I think, about 30 something pounds to get the 30ml from them. So I didn't get it directly from Lolita Lempicka because it was more expensive. But let's have a look at this beautiful bottle. I mean, look at this little darling. Isn't it so cute? What a beautiful bottle. Really lovely. So, Fleurs de Lolita Lempicka. Really, really pretty. The notes in this one are top notes of magnolia, mandarin and red berries, middle notes of rose, jasmine, base notes of ambergris musk and patchouli. So looking at this, I was already pretty sure this was not going to smell anything like the original Lolita Lempicka. And generally speaking, most of the perfumes that are in this shaped bottle, and if they're like Fleurs de Lolita or Le Eau en Blanc Lolita, you know, all these kind of things, they do tend to have like a DNA running through them. The only one that I'd smelt that I don't think smells anything like the original is called L'Eau Jolie. So that's one that I bought, and I really don't like a very, very screechy shampoo kind of smell. Like, just, I don't know. That one I suspect there might be aroma chemicals in. So I was a bit nervous about this guy, and this has a real beauty about it, but it also definitely smells like shampoo, and it does not smell to me like a Lolita Lempicka perfume. So it opens up and it's a kind of sweet spring floral, but not too sweet. It's just kind of that natural sweetness that you get with flowers in springtime. And then you definitely get some of the mandarin, so you're getting this kind of soft orangey citrus that isn't too sharp. I feel like maybe the magnolia is the strongest thing when you first spray it, but by the time it's been sprayed for a little while, it kind of equals out and it just kind of smells like a floral bouquet. Now, I do get a bit of the ambergris and I really like that slightly salty touch. I think that's really nice. I'm not getting much patchouli, which is good because I was really nervous about that. It reminds me a little bit of an Aqua Allegoria that I tested recently that I thought was a bit shampooey. I can't remember what it's called, but it's one of their more floral perfumes. So there's something about this that I really like, but there's also something about the fact it's so shampooey that I don't really enjoy. Now, they released this when it was autumn, and it's now autumn, starting to feel more and more wintry as time goes on, and this is to me absolutely a warm weather perfume. This is not something that I would ever wear at this time of year, so this is one that I'm not entirely sure about it now at the moment, so I'm going to have to come back to this and try it again in springtime, because I have some perfumes that in cold weather, the shampoo quality just really ruins them for me. But then if I wear them in warm weather, I kind of like them. Like Justin Bieber's The Key, like actually, to be honest, Pure Honey from Kim Kardashian in cold weather, I find that one a bit shampooey. And Giulietta from Toka, which I enjoy in warm weather, but man, in cold weather, that is pure shampoo. So I need to give this one a fair chance and smell it at the time of year that I feel like it's designed to be worn. But yeah, I mean, I have to say, considering this is Lolita Lempicka, it's very pedestrian. It's not very interesting. There's no unusual notes in this. It's just a spring floral. It's like, if you look back at their previous collections and their previous creations, you'll have something that's got, you know, gin and tonic in it, or prosecco, or like a Bellini note, or of course like licorice or absinthe. You know, all these really interesting notes that make the perfume more special, and they are kind of whimsical and beautiful. This could be a Versace perfume. Do you know what I mean? It's not quite as chemically as a lot of the Versace perfumes, but it's equally as shampooey as like Bright Crystal and that kind of thing. I feel like if you like Bright Crystal and perfumes like that, you're probably going to love this, because it is definitely, it's a little bit thicker, but it's definitely that kind of thing. So I think it's pretty, but I don't think that it lives up to the Lolita Lempicka name, to be honest. I feel like this could be so much more interesting. I really feel like I hope if they make more perfumes, they go back to the kind of crazy fairy living in a woodland glade. You know, I want that feel back. It's just not, and it hasn't, absolutely bears no resemblance to Lolita Lempicka, the original, that this, you know, normally the bottles are like this. This is closest to L'Eau Jolie, which I really don't like, but it's much nicer than that one. So if you smelt that one and you didn't like it, this one's much nicer. But it's pretty, but I don't love it. So we'll see how that one goes when it's actually nice weather. So that is a beautiful bottle. That's Fleurs de Lolita Lempicka. Very, very pretty. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Next on the list, we've got Guess Seductive Dream. So this is just one that I saw and it was on a special offer, and I thought, well, let's give it a go, see what I think about it. Comes in this very over-the-top floral pink box. So this is the bottle. Very cute. Just trying to work out whether it's best to have the very bright gold. Let's just do it. Now this guy, this has notes of pear, mango, bergamot and apple in the top. The mid notes are gardenia, rose, jasmine and lily of the valley. Base notes vanilla, sugar, musk and amberwood. So this really could have gone in all kinds of directions for me. I really love the idea of the pear and the mango. None of these florals are my favourite florals, but normally when they're all mixed together, you know, you're just kind of getting a bouquet. Green apple sometimes smells like a candle to me, and amberwood sometimes can be overwhelming and smell quite chemically. So I was like, okay, this really is going to be a blind buy. We'll see what happens. So also, looking at the comparisons, the top one is the newer Dolce & Gabbana. It's called My Devotion. I haven't smelt that. I don't know what that smells like. And then there's like a few tuberose perfumes, which is interesting. So, although I guess a lot of them are tuberose and gardenia, so I did suspect this could turn into a bit of a buttery perfume. And honestly, it is so buttery. The gardenia is so buttery that it almost literally smells like butter to me. It's so, yeah, I mean, I can't think of another word better than buttery, because it does have a kind of lotiony texture, sort of soapy without being shampooey. But it's very specifically butter. It smells like a gardenia and tuberose mixture with pear and mango. So I do kind of think that this is really pretty, and I think it's very good value. I think it's really nice. I just don't know whether this is my jam because I can really struggle to wear very buttery perfumes if they're buttery florals. However, I've got a couple now that have this kind of hint of buttery floral, and I feel like I've trained myself to start wearing these a bit more. Mainly that I think is because I have Blissful Fantasy, which is quite buttery but has a beautiful melon, like a sweet melon note in it. And this, because it's got that lovely pear and mango, it does differentiate itself slightly from some of the other kind of buttery florals. But it is very, very gardenia dominant. So if you really don't like a buttery gardenia, if like me you're very fussy about that, this might not be for you. So I think realistically, even though I do think this is very pretty, I would highly recommend this to anyone, especially if you like things like Diptyque's D'Ossonne, if you like Tocca's Florence, if you like those kind of classic tuberose and gardenia perfumes, but you like a bit of fruitiness. Absolutely try this one out. I think you will love it. And I think it smells like nice quality. I think this is really pretty. It doesn't smell too screechy. It's got like a warm kind of enveloping feel to it, which I think buttery florals often do because they're those kind of beachy florals, you know what I mean? So yeah, the more I smell it on my skin, the more I think it's really lovely, but I also don't know that I'd ever wear it. So this might be one that I just put away and I see how I feel about it when I try it out, maybe in warmer weather, although I do think you could wear this in cooler weather without any problem. This is the kind of perfume that I would wear to a special event. It smells like the kind of thing I would wear to a wedding. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's Guess Seductive Dream. I actually think this is a lovely little perfume. Whether it's my type of scent profile or not, I'm not really sure, but I do think this is very pretty. Really, really nice one. Guess Seductive Dream. So guys, I lost my mind a little bit and I went and bought Super Fairy, even though I did test it in store and I wasn't mad for it because I mean, I think it's really nice, but I don't have Super Fairy because I find the citrus oil specifically in that, to be very bitter and a little bit screechy. And I already have Snow Fairy, so I was thinking, I don't really need this. Then I kept thinking about how it was like almost dried down to smell a bit like Snow Fairy, but with an almost kind of caramelly, vanillic dry down, like a creamy dry down. So I went back and I bought it, and I have already decided that I'm going to take this in and I'm going to exchange it, probably, let's be real, for a bottle of Sleepy that used to be called Twilight, because I get through absolute bottles of that because I spray it on my bed sheets. This is absolutely just a classic mixture. It is absolutely a mixture of Super Fairy and Super Fairy. It is absolutely a mixture of Super Milk and Snow Fairy. It's really difficult to not say Super Fairy now every time I try to say it. So the notes they've listed for Super Fairy on Fragrantica anyway are citrus, lemon, lime in the top, middle notes cotton candy, base notes vanilla and musk. You guys know, because Super Milk and Super Fairy, let's have a look and see what they say separately. This really is a mixture of the two. So you've got citrus, vanilla, biscuit, almond and coconut in Super Milk. I don't remember there being a biscuit note. I'm not sure that's right. But anyway, I'm not saying anything. And then Super Fairy, you've got cotton candy, sweet notes, cherry, vanilla and pear. And I really do get the cherry and pear in Snow Fairy. I really, really like Snow Fairy. So when I first spray this, I get the Super Milk feel. I can tell there's Snow Fairy, but I get a lot of the Super Milk in the opening just because of those citruses. Like, it's such a specific smell for Super Milk. And there's instantly a kind of sweet creaminess mixed in with that. So that's why it makes me think of Super Milk. But then the more it dries down, the more it starts to smell a bit like Snow Fairy. And again, it kind of just dries down to smell like Snow Fairy with a creamy, slightly caramelly vanilla base. So it's very pretty. I think if you don't have either, this would be perfect. But because I don't have Super Milk, thanks to those citruses, and I do get the same kind of bitter sharpness with the citruses here that I do in the actual Super Milk body spray and perfume, I already have Snow Fairy, and I think I'd rather just wear Snow Fairy. And I also have Creamy Candy, I have American Cream. I've got quite a lot of sweet, creamy perfumes from Lush, and Lush perfumes smell like Lush. So yeah, I do highly recommend this if you like either of the perfumes or you have neither. If you wear Supermilk or Snow Fairy a lot and you like the idea of this, I mean, to be fair, if you have both, you could just layer them and you'd pretty much get the same thing. But I do think this is lovely. I just don't think it's needed in my collection. I don't think I'm going to reach for it. So I'm going to just take it in and I'm going to exchange it for something I know I'll use. And I use tons of stuff from Lush. So that's Super Fairy. That was just me losing my mind and deciding to spend my money when I was just not at all needing this perfume. So yeah, that's Super Fairy. Oh gosh. Alright, so you guys are allowed to think that I'm completely insane for this because I have had this in my collection before. This is Me from Lanvin. I have had this before and I decluttered it because I felt like the licorice note in this kind of smelled like cigarette ash to me. But I now have so many of the vintage Lolita Lempickas and they have exactly that same licorice in. They have a licorice that smells kind of cigarette ashy to me and smoky, but I have learned to love that, so I was like, okay, I quite want to try Me again and see how I get on with it because it's a blueberry perfume. I don't really have blueberry perfumes. There's not many available out and about, and do you know what I mean? Like, they're hard to come by, and most of the ones I've smelled I don't like, so I thought I'd try this again if that was the one thing that put me off. So I saw it on eBay. I think I got this for a tenner for this 30ml, so I was really happy with it because it's a little bit rarer now. I don't think that this actually in production anymore. So Lanvin Me, let's take a quick look at the bottle. So this is the tiny baby bottle, which is super cute. Let's just see. That's the easiest way to see what it says. It looks a bit like MF like that, doesn't it? I mean, not the best. Guys, this is just going to have to do. A bit chaotic. So the notes in Me, at least the notes that they give you on Fragrantica: top notes of blueberry and mandarin orange, middle notes of licorice, tuberose and rose, base notes of sandalwood. Now, this has been an interesting one because this is not as sweet as I remember it being, but I think that's also partly because, if we're being real, I've just got used to sweeter perfumes than when I first had this. So this one is much tartar and less jammy than I remember it being. Much tartar. And as I suspected, I'm not at all bothered by the licorice in this anymore. I did like licorice, I just didn't like the kind of smoky, cigarette-y type. But that smells good to me now. I'm not really kind of thinking this smells like ash. I'm just getting a kind of smokiness, like a smoky licorice. And I'm getting a decent amount of wood. The thing with this perfume is that now I'm smelling it again, I swear there is patchouli in this perfume. This smells like a fruit chuli to me. And I just, although I think the blueberry in this is beautiful, it still doesn't smell like a fresh blueberry to me. This smells like a not too sweet blueberry jam with some mandarin orange squeezed in. But yeah, there is that feel that I get with patchouli that I'm really sensing in this perfume, which is very interesting. What's also interesting is I was looking at this and what they'd said about it. It says top notes of Lanvin Me introduce delicate floral notes supported and sweetened by fruity zest of blueberry, combined with licorice in the heart. Seductive hues are offered by intense tuberose complementing sweet fruity passions, rounded on the fascinating base. And then it says composition coming us. I think that's where they say coming up. So what is a fascinating base? Because I don't think if it was just sandalwood they'd be calling it a fascinating base. It smells like a blueberry fruit chuli to me. I don't think it's quite as sweet as that Fenty perfume, but that's kind of what it reminds me of. I'm just having a look through. I don't think it smells like Philosophy Unconditional Love. It's compared to the intense version of Le Petite Robe Noire, and that does have quite a strong patchouli note in it, and that's why I don't like it. It's compared to Lolita Lempicka, and it definitely has a little bit of crossover with that one. But even though there's patchouli in Lolita Lempicka, it's not one that actually bothers me. I don't think that perfume smells like a fruit chewy. So 20 people say that this smells like John Galliano, Parlez-moi d'amour. And that is blueberry, rose, patchouli. I swear this perfume has patchouli in. So this, again, this is not for me. And before I thought it wasn't me because I thought that it had a licorice and a sandalwood that smelt like cigarette ash. And now I'm thinking this is not for me because it smells like a fruit chewy. So, I mean, you know, it was silly of me to buy it again, but I was just really interested in smelling this again now that my nose has changed and that I've smelt so many more perfumes. But yeah, this is a beautiful perfume. I just don't like fruit chewies. So the fact that this reminds me of a fruit chewy means it's not for me. I might, however, let my sister smell this one to see if she likes it because she really likes the Fenty perfume, which is, to me, a blueberry fruit chewy. That one's possibly a bit sweeter than this one, but this might be good for her when she wants something that's not quite so sweet, but I'll see what she thinks. And if she doesn't like it, I'll just pass it on. But yeah, so that's Lanvin Me, and it's not really me, you know? Next up, we have Born Original for Her by Adidas. This has been in my wish list for years. It's one of those things I always put in and I take out, and I put it in and I take out, and I was just like, ugh, look, it's about £8 or something on Notino, just buy it. So I bought it in this little tiny 30ml bottle. And it's funny, I think because of the way this has been photographed, it's been photographed from a really low angle. I just thought this bottle was going to be huge, but of course it's 30ml, so it's tiny. It's got this little box. There it is, Born Original for her. And then look at this diddy little bottle. Oh my God, it's so small. So it comes like this. It has a little plastic protector because it's one of these silly ones that you know doesn't have a lid. So I think it's quite an orangey colour if you see it in the pictures, but it just looks more like a regular perfume when you see the actual bottle. So Born Original. I kind of suspected that this was going to have a specific smell to it because the notes match up quite well with something that I've had and decluttered previously, which is Hugo Boss. I think it's called Hugo Orange, is it? Yeah. Boss Orange for her. Boss Orange for Women, I should say, by Hugo Boss. Except that this didn't have the apple in it. So I was like, I kind of liked that perfume, but something about the apple in it. And it was a green apple, even though it's called orange. So it was a green apple, and I was like, I didn't love it. I had the Eau de Parfum, which was the kind of creamier, sweeter version of that, but it wasn't quite for me. But it had olive tree in it, which I thought was a really interesting note that made it smell quite unisex. So the notes in Born Original are top notes of apricot, orange peel and bergamot, middle notes of candy apple, coconut and jasmine, base notes tonka bean, olive tree and cedar. And I really liked this perfume when I first sprayed it on my skin. I thought it was kind of tart and sharp when I first sprayed it, and then it increasingly and quite quickly got much sweeter. I got a little bit of that olive tree, which again means this kind of smells a little bit unisex to me in quite a cool way. It has a lovely sweetness. It is almost slightly creamy, even though it's like a candy apple. I'm guessing that sweetness and the sweetness is coming from the tonka, but I think the creaminess is probably the coconut mixing with this. And it does kind of smell like an apple-y smell. But sadly, when it dries down, this has that tarry aroma chemical in it, so I cannot wear it. So it starts out lovely, it gets creamier, it gets sweeter. I was thinking, yes, this is good. I've got a blind buy that I'm going to keep. I think it's really nice. And then tar. And now that is what is lingering on my skin. So unfortunately, this is one that I will be getting rid of. It's really disappointing because I did a little blind buy haul from Notino, and by far this was my favourite of the scents. You know what I mean? This was my favourite profile. But tar. So yeah, I mean, Born Original, Born Tarry, sadly. So yeah, this one not staying with me. I mean, I'm not sad because the bottle is hideous. Like this kind of creased, just, what is this? It's like a sack, like a creased sack. I mean, yeah. So anyway, I'm not disappointed in that respect, but I am disappointed that the scent didn't work for me. So yeah, I think it's less green apple-y than the Hugo for women, which is why I kind of liked this one better. But yeah, tarry. So no thanks. Next up, we have one that I have heard people talking about for literally years. This has been around for years. It still seems quite popular. I would never have bought this if it wasn't for the fact that it was a special sale at Notino. So, i.e. it was an unwrapped bottle that's been sprayed and someone has returned it. So they then sell those things on for much cheaper. So again, this was about £8, something like that, for a little 30ml. So I thought, can't hurt, let's give it a go. So here's the little bottle. You can see it says fancy there. Not that I think there's anything particularly fancy about either the bottle or the perfume. Oh, no. This is another one that has that just hella screechy aroma chemical that is just like a headache in a bottle for me. I can't deal with it. It also has that thing that really clashes for me where I get incredibly sour fruits with a very screechy hairspray aroma chemical, and then a kind of sweet caramelly dry down, and it smells like it's curdled. Like it literally smells like those two things, the acid and the sugars and the fats have literally curdled and separated. Like these kind of perfumes just smell hella bad to me, and I know that a lot of people love these, and you probably don't smell the aroma chemicals the same way that I do, and I imagine that's what the problem is. But man, oh god, screech. So top notes of apricot, pear and red berries, and it is sharp, very acidic. Mid notes of caramel, almond, gardenia and jasmine. You get the caramel, you get the almond. You can kind of tell there's florals in here, but I feel like this is like a flor monde, or it's more like a fruit monde, fruit flor monde. I mean, technically, fruits are edible, but they don't. I mean, they smell like perfume fruits here. They don't smell like literal fruits. Base notes: vanilla, amber, and sandalwood. So, I mean, it's giving me very much the same vibe as a English Laundry perfume that I had in a pen spray called English Laundry number 7. I smell so similar to that, and I had exactly the same thing in that. It was curdled. It literally very acidic, sharp fruits, screechy aroma chemicals, lovely creamy sweetness. Just wasn't working for me at all. This is also compared to Juicy Couture Gold, is it called? That is a million times better than this perfume. I still didn't really particularly like that one. I'm not mad for it. It's just okay. Like, I tend not to like a lot of the Juicy Couture perfumes. I like the Sucre one. I like that one a lot. But the others, I'm not really bothered about. But definitely get Viva La Juicy Gold Couture over Fancy. I think Fancy is just a screechy nightmare. So yeah, ooh, that was a terrible blind buy fail. So let's say goodbye to Fancy. So next up we have Le Nereides. I'm not saying that right, I know, please forgive me. This one is Rue Paradis. I actually got 2 pen sprays from this collection. And this particular one, I'll put the picture of the bottle up as well so you can see, because the only reason I even saw these perfumes is because Direct Cosmetics had some tester bottles of the full 100ml. And I so nearly bought the 2 that I was interested in, and then I realised that for £12 I could just get the 10ml pen sprays, and then I could actually test them out and see if I wanted the bigger bottles. Not that in my collection I'd ever need to once I had these. But yeah, so this is Rue Paradis. So here is my lovely little pen spray, and I was interested in this one because it's got top notes of star anise, middle notes of mimosa and base notes of sandalwood, and I thought that sounded kind of interesting and nice. I do quite enjoy mimosa, I like sandalwood, and sometimes I like star anise depending on whether it goes medicinal or not. This is a bit of a strange perfume. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. I'm not loving it, to be honest. It's not one that strikes me as something that I would find easy to wear. It does have a kind of pretty mimosa, but there's something about the spice and the wood with this mimosa that is just throwing me off a little bit and making it smell a little bit strange to me. It's a very pretty mimosa note, to be sure, and there's no kind of issues in terms of like aroma chemicals, like the wood doesn't smell synthetic or anything. There's just something a little bit strange about the mimosa with the star anise to my nose. So the top comparison here is Mimosa and Cardamom from Jo Malone, and I can't really comment on how similar this smells, but at the same time, I can kind of imagine mimosa and cardamom. I can imagine that combination, and I can imagine it does smell a little bit like this. And I don't love it, to be honest. I'm not keen on this. I don't think, although, I mean, I would say it's quite interesting and it is quite pretty, and I think there's a lot of my subscribers who would love this. But for me personally, if I'm going to reach for a mimosa perfume, I'm going to go for Fragonard Belle de Grace. Or, more realistically, I'm going to wear my Lolita Lempicka Fleurs de Fondue. And this, it gets sweeter as it dries down. It's really pretty. But yeah, I just don't think I'm going to reach for it, even though I do think it's nice. Do you see what I mean? Like, I just think it's not one that I'm going to forego my other mimosas in order to wear this. So I think probably I will pass on Rue Paradis. I don't think it's really made for me, but I think there's a lot of people I know who would really enjoy it. So next up we have Pas De Velours from Nereides. Again, I'm not saying this right, I apologise. Comes in this lovely box, really beautiful. So again, this is the little pen spray, and you can see this has a darker liquid. That's because this is vanilla. Well, it's actually, I think, like an ambery vanilla. So let's look at the notes that they give you. So top note is ylang ylang, mid note is incense, base note is vanilla, but this definitely smells a bit ambery to me, to be honest. So I'm kind of surprised to not see amber listed. And I mean, realistically, I think it's very possible that there is amber in it, so... This one has a sheer vanilla that definitely has a sweetness, but it's not at all creamy. So it's a very non-gourmand vanilla, this one. There is a nice ylang ylang, but it's quite soft. It's not a super strong incense, but it's quite noticeable because this is quite a sheer scent. You could almost say it's like a starter incense, do you know what I mean? So it's like a whisper of incense. It's obvious, but it's not like really strong, and this is not a thick perfume. So the ylang yalang's really cute. That's kind of, the mixture of the ylang ylang and the vanilla is my favourite thing about this. I almost could do without the incense. So it's a little bit like the last one where the sandalwood and mimosa mixed together I quite enjoyed. I wish it didn't have so much of the star anise, and this one I wish it didn't have so much of the incense, I think, because I just really want a bit more of that ylang, you know what I mean? So I don't really entirely know what to compare this to. Interestingly, the top comparison is Dior Addict. I'm not really getting Dior Addict from this. They've also got Acro Glow, which I think is the one that smells like Spiritus Double Vanille, is it? I'm going to have to check. Yeah. This doesn't quite have that. Yeah, I don't really think this smells too much like Spiritus Double Vanille. I don't think there's that much vanilla in this in comparison. It's also been compared to Musk Ravager, which, in a weird way, I can kind of see that one. Although I've only ever smelt that in store. I've not actually had a sample or anything. And it's also been compared to one called Vanille de Zanzibar from Boucheron, which is one I've never seen before, but it's a cool name. Yeah, I feel like this is like an ambery, incensey, very gentle vanilla perfume with just a hint of ylang ylang. I don't dislike it at all. I also don't really love it. It's kind of very much a, I'll try this out in different weathers and see how it goes. It is one I'm going to keep in my collection. Yeah, so I'm just going to try that one out. I almost feel like the more it dries down, the more I'm almost getting something that feels a bit musky. Yeah, it's starting to develop a kind of skin-like musky scent. So yeah, you never know. This one might become one that I really enjoy, but we shall see. So actually, to be honest, I'm probably going to keep both of those pen sprays because they're so small, and I am going to try them out at different times of year just to see if they are ones that I want to keep hold of. So that is Pas De Velours from Le Nereides. I've said that differently every time, I reckon, and probably incorrectly every single time, but you know. So next up we have this beauty. This is Serge Lutens Bois Vanille, and it's very unusual of me to blind buy a perfume that is expensive as Serge Lutens, but this recommended retail price for 50ml is like £144. This was on All Beauty for £55, and then I had an added discount on top of that, so I got this free delivery for £50. And I was like, you know what, I feel like for that I'll probably be able to sell it on if I don't get on with it. But I just felt like in my bones, unless there was some kind of horrible aroma chemical in this, I felt like I was going to like it. So I ordered this blind and I was pretty happy when it arrived. So this comes in a bottle where you can use it as a dabber or you can wear it with this sprayer. So I've obviously got the sprayer in because I don't really enjoy a dabber bottle. So Serge Lutens Bois Vanille. I was very much inspired to get this by the lovely Amy from Savour Salvage Scent. She was talking about this in her licorice perfume video and I just thought it sounded amazing. I'd never heard anyone talk about this before and I was just like, this sounds like it's for me. So I'll read you the notes and then you'll know why I was so interested in this. So, notes. Vanilla, coconut, beeswax, licorice, sandalwood, tonka bean, almond, benzoin, gaiac wood and musk. Oh my goodness. So the only thing here that I was like, this could ruin it for me is gaiac wood. But I should have learnt by now that if it's a house that uses a nice version of gaiac wood, I have no problem with it. The same with akigala wood. And actually the same with like a really good quality real oud if it's not really funky. So Lush use an oud that, or even though if there's lots of it, I don't particularly want to wear it. I don't mind it. It doesn't upset me. And in small amounts, I like it. So this, I get a lot of the licorice, and I really like that this is licorice heavy. That's why I was interested in it in the first place. But I really get the beeswax, and I get a proper waxy texture with this that I enjoy. And there's something about the combination of the coconut and the beeswax that to me makes it smell like a honey caramel. Like a waxy honey caramel. I mean, it really has, like if you've ever bitten into some honeycomb, like real honeycomb, and you've got that delicious crunch, that splendid amazing sweet honey, and then you end up with that wax between your teeth that I tend not to eat that. I just spit it out because it's just a bit much, but it's fun to chew. It really brings that texture to the forefront of this perfume, and I think it's amazing. I do get vanilla, but to me, weirdly, I would think of this as a kind of licorice and honey caramel perfume more than I would think of it as a vanilla. That might just be my nose and how it comes out. But this is gorgeous. It's actually surprisingly sheer. So it's so weird. How do I explain this? Because it's rich, but it's sheer. It's not rich and thick. It's rich and sheer. So it's really sweet. So I can't wear this, like, I mean, I've tested it, but I need to wear this in cold weather for sure. But I don't need to kind of wait until it's absolutely icy. But this is very decadent to me, the way this smells. It's like, it's not heavy, but it's decadent. Really pretty. And it's funny because in Kim Kardashian's Pure Honey, that perfume also has beeswax and coconut, and that perfume in the dry down also smells like there's a caramel note to me. So there must be something about coconut and beeswax mixed together that just smells like caramel to me. I'm just looking down for more affordable alternatives, and I have to say there's one that I have had before. It's compared to Eilish by Billie Eilish. That's the first gold boob bottle. The Architects Club, I think that one is the one that smells like Eau de Well, and although I can kind of see I mean, I feel like this is that kind of same kind of vanilla you have in Baby Cat and Eau de Well. Like, it's that sheer vanilla that's non-gourmand. But really, this does smell a little bit like something I've had before, which is Guiper and Silk Ylang Vanille from Jean Arthès, except that that one smelled very synthetic and strange to me. There was something I really loved about it, but at the same time, I couldn't really wear it. But I can kind of see the similarities between that and this, although this is so superior. I think this is lovely. I really like it. I'm very happy I bought it. I think it's beautiful. It's quite unusual. Just very pretty, very sweet, very decadent. So yeah, that's Un Bois Vanille from Serge Lutens. So thanks to Amy for that one. That was a really, really good recommendation. I can't even get far enough back to fit this whole thing in here, but this is Glacier Bella from Maison Alhambra, and this is a dupe of Le Bel, although I think it's a dupe of Le Bel Le Parfum. So I'm going to take this out of this massive Jean Paul Gaultier rip-off box. Ugh. You can see this got a bit damaged. So this is the absolute beast of a bottle. Now then, the thing is with this, it has, I think, a little bit more of the very juicy cooked pear that you get in the original Le Bel, right? But when it dries down, I think it smells more and more like Le Parfum, which doesn't have quite such a juicy pear. So I feel like it's almost a mixture of the two perfumes. But like the original, this has that tarry aroma chemical in it. I was hoping that it wouldn't, but it really does. So, I mean, they only list green pear, vanilla pod and bergamot for Glacier Bella, but there's way more going on in here. So if I look at Le Parfum, that one has pear, tonka bean, jasmine and vanilla listed. And it also, to me, the Le Parfum has an almost kind of cakey, biscuity accord in that perfume. Whereas the original Le Bel has vetiver, and it has leather, and it has amber and musk and flowers. And I feel like this one is somewhere in between the two. But again, it's tarry, it's not for me. I just can't get along with this guy. So I feel like I just have to give up on the Le Bel profile, because the dupes and the real thing, and actually, to be honest, the Kayali that smells a bit like it, the Candy Rock Sugar, I think, is the one that smells quite similar. I don't love them. They just tend to have those aroma chemicals. They've got the Quentin Biche aroma chemicals in it, and this one does as well. So that was a fail. So we're ending on a fail, but only because, my guys, this is a massive bottle, so I had to wait until end to talk about it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any of these. Please don't take offense if I don't like stuff you really like, because that's just normal for me. My perfume channel is literally called Skin Sense for Fusspots because I am so fussy. So yeah, I mean, there's always bound to be stuff that I don't love, but let me know if you love them. Let me know what you've got out of this batch, or if you fancy getting any of them after you've heard what they smell like. All right, thanks guys. Bye.